Hi everyone, Carl here from selfsufficienthub.com, and here we're going to be talking about this amazing plant. It's a plant that you can grow, and it's from this season onwards, it's the only onion plant that I'm going to be growing, and better than that, it's also a perennial. So after this season, I am never ever going to have to plant onions again, and I will have onions forever. All the types of onions that I like, the onions that we usually buy, the big ones. We're also going to have spring onions, and we're going to have shallots, or an equivalent of all three, without ever having to plant anything ever again. So today we're going to talk about the Egyptian onion. It's got several names. The tree onion, Egyptian onion, and walking onion are just three that I know of. And in the background there, you can see some more traditional onions that we would usually grow in the UK and most other places. But these perennials are going to be replacing every onion that I grow. So regular onions are a biannual crop. If you grow them from seed, you could wait over a year before you get your harvest. And these guys, it's now May, right at the end of May, last day of May 2020. And these guys were planted in the autumn. They were planted, or late summer, shall we say. I think these were planted in August or September of last year. So they've overwintered, and look at them now, aren't they doing well? So the Egyptian onion, you get them as these, they're called bulbils. So they're like mini bulblets. And I planted 5 of these in the ground, and I planted them in a square with one in the middle, and only 3 have come up. So this one that would be here didn't come up, and the one that would be at the back there didn't come up. So I've got a diagonal row across my square that I planted. So from just 3 bulblets, we have got all this growth in less than a year. So what happens is you plant them below the ground, and they'll grow in these clusters. And as you can see from each bulb, we've got all these different stalks coming up. You can see why they're called tree onions, because they grow to quite a size. If you see here, what happens, they grow up, they flower, they create these bulbs, and then the bulbs are effectively mini onions. They're exactly the same as we planted, and then they will then stalk, grow again, and then up here we'll have another set of those bulbs. It's just an incredible species of plant, and that will just continue ad infinitum. Eventually the weight of this will force it over down into the ground, and I'm going to harvest this one shortly, so I'm not worried about damaging it. It's going to go into the ground, and not this side because we're off of our bed, but elsewhere on the bed it's going to go into the ground, and it's basically going to take root, and then this is going to take off just like our other plants, and we'll have another new cluster, and then they're going to grow and take up, and then they will walk all around the garden. So you don't have to worry about them getting where you don't want them, because they're not that fast growing. They're not an invasive plant. They don't spread by root rhizomes. They propagate through these bulbs, so they're really easy to keep track of. And basically all I'll need to do is just harvest the ones that fall over towards the outside, which is going to be super simple to do. But let's talk about what sort of harvest we're going to get from these. So when they're lower, earlier down in the spring, these leaves, when they were younger, before these heads have formed, you can take these off, and you see they're very much like the green part of a spring onion. I think in the US you might call it a salad onion, but we call them spring onions here in the UK, and you can use these in salads. So these big ones now, they're not particularly tasty, they're a little bit bitter, so we're not going to have those. But if I did want some spring onion, all I do is I can take these bits here that are coming off the bulbils, and that there is a beautiful salad spring onion addition. They're also great for Chinese food. If you do much Oriental cooking, you'll know that the trifecta of flavors for almost all Oriental dishes is garlic, ginger, and spring onion. Little tip for you there: if you want to cook something Chinese, start with those 3, put them in the pan, then add your chicken, your rice, your noodles, whatever, and you've got a beautiful Chinese flavor, or a Oriental flavor, should I say. And so these spring onions are gorgeous, full of flavor, but quite mild. Then what we've got is these little bulbs here And we harvest these and we can use these just like shallots. I've got so many, I'm really not worried about damaging this part of the plant coming this way because I'm going to let it spread that way. So we use these just like shallots. They really pack a punch, a great onion flavour. I like to use them whole in casseroles and stews and things. They're just great for that crisp, oniony bang, you know. So you've got the shallots, and then a little bit later, if I wanted to, I'm not going to this year because I want to leave them. They'll come back year after year. Like I say, they're a perennial plant. But underneath the ground, you'll get a more traditional sized big onion. So I've got my onion plants back there and a few others in another bed that are going to keep me going for the rest of this year. But as of next year, I'm going to be harvesting these guys as my onions. So as you go through the season and you just harvest what you want, and then the following year, the same plants will just come up again. And these guys will also spread and you can replant these. So it's up to you. You can take the ones that are this side. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the ones that are this side, and I'm actually going to use them to plant the rest of this bed right the way back. In case you're wondering about the hair, in the UK, it's illegal for hairdressers to be operating because of the lockdown. I cannot get my hair cut, so I had to cut it to myself, and I only know one style. I won't lie, it's not that bad a thing with this beautiful weather, but I've had to use sun cream, obviously. Yeah, so this is going to be my onion bed from now on, so we're going to use these guys. We're going to replant them, and they're just going to come out year after year. Perpetual onions, Egyptian onions, they are just the best thing. I'm so excited about how well they've done. I'm so excited that they've worked out for me. As you know, I'm all about edible perennials because you do that little bit of work and then they just keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And how great is that? There you go. Egyptian onions, perpetual walking onions. If you find these videos valuable, there's several ways you can support us. You know what to do. Please leave a message down below. Subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Press that button right now. Just that little thumb makes a big difference for us. Also, you can find our podcast. We've got a podcast coming out 3 times a week. Self-Sufficient Hub podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you wanted to support us financially, you can find us on Patreon, where we're patreon.com/self-sufficient hub. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one. And this is going to be my onion bed forever. This is going to be my onion bed from now on. There's a really smart way of saying that. This is going to be my onion bed for in perpetuity. In perpetuity? Is that? The word is perpetual. I'm not sure where we go from there. In perpetuity? In perpetuity. In perpetuity. I didn't Google that, it just came to me.